Come on in, y'all. Let's talk. It's music business night right here on the Sir Walter Jones. Let's talk. We've got to talk about the wedding. I might cough a little bit, and that's okay. That's part of it all. Hit the share button if you can. As I get through some of the coughing, and I'm sure I will be okay in a little while. How about that? Let's talk about this royal wedding. I knew I would come in here at one moment or other and see if I can figure it out. All right, here we go. Hello, everybody. Sir Walter Jones Show. I am he. It is, let's see, 5 o'clock in the p.m. here on a Wednesday. And we're here to talk about another hot topic of the week. How y'all is? Come on in. The water is fine. I want to talk about this wedding here, the nuptials of the royal wedding of Prince Harry and Meghan to the Markle. It's going to be another hot one, and I'm going to bring up some things that you probably haven't thought about, and maybe I can help you out about. The significance of this royal wedding, and number 2, why it ain't nothing new, to tell you the truth. Bears Bolden says he didn't watch it. I know you didn't. I didn't either. I didn't watch it live. No, I did not. And I will say that this wedding has proven to me that many of you are hypocrites. To the crits. I said it and I said again, some of y'all, especially you black women, hips to the crips. You'll say, what do you mean by that? Why are we hip to the crips? Okay? Let me tell you something. When Barack Hussein Obama, a good man, I believe, is a great man, and married to one wife, she black. When he was running, some of y'all who don't like him, never did like him, would always bring up the white side of Barack Obama. You brought up the white side, okay? And say he half black. He ain't all black. He ain't doing nothing for black folk, and he ain't digging into his black roots and all that good stuff. Yeah, I tell you. But then Meghan Markle decided that she wanted to start courting, and she started getting a little falling in love with Harry. There ain't nothing black about Harry. And all of a sudden, Markle was a black woman. She wasn't half black, half white. No, y'all don't bring up none of the white side of her. You ain't say her father was white. No, she was a black woman marrying a white man. Yeah, y'all are, who that say that? Hypocritical, Marcel say. Oh, you black women, crack me to the utmost upticity. Well, Meghan ain't never been. Well, to Connor, for those of you who may not know, Meghan has been talking about black for a long time. I don't understand why y'all don't know how to do any reading on her. She did some, and I've done my study, and I talked to my dear friend, Shantae Charles, did a whole show on it. Y'all should check it out. Meghan is a black girl. She's been talking about black issues and racism for a while. She had a blog that she would put, and if you don't think she black, you didn't watch the wedding. I had to watch the rerun, and I said, yeah, black folk was represented in Great Britain. Yeah. And those two went to they did something unorthodox. They went to a Black Lives Matter memorial, which shook up some folks. They said, you're not supposed to do that when you're part of the monarchy. You're not supposed to you're supposed to be in the middle. You're not supposed to talk about political issues, okay? We are. This house is a house of peace. Right? They doing things that makes me want to say something to y'all today. It wasn't about black and white. It was about a man marrying a woman. Marcel said, I'm telling you, y'all are hypocrites. These black men and superstars, whether they're artists or they're sportsmen and things like that, these black men are marrying these white women, and y'all got so highly upset. Ooh, the brothers are leaving us and marrying these. But oh, Meghan Markle. Okay, let me get further into this thing here. Let's talk about the monarchy, all right? But before we talk about that, I want to see if I could bring up something that maybe y'all don't know about Jesus Christ and his family. His family, Jesus Christ's family, jacked up. Ever since God created man, he created Adam. Adam is the first man. God made him from the dust of the ground. And what he did was he messed up. Adam did. Okay. He let that woman beguile. The woman said the other person, the snake beguiled. Anyway, that woman that you gave me tricked me and I ate. Now Adam knew what he was doing, but nevertheless, the act that he did caused us to be the way we are today, and even the whole earth groans, and even the animals are all jacked up because of Adam. So what Jesus did, he had to prepare man to bring in a savior who was to correct Adam's mess. That's why Jesus is called the second or last Adam. All right. So Adam, and then through Adam's children, one killed another, and then God replaced him with that boy. And then the Bible says, then man began to call on the name of the Lord. Oh boy, it's a long story, but I got to make it short. And to that genealogy came Noah. And Noah, because God decided to wipe out these evil folks, and he rescued 8 people, put them on the boat. So Noah carried that Adam gene pool with him, though. Yeah, he did. And out of Noah came Abraham. Now, this is where it gets tricky. Abraham had a son. Isaac was the only one, okay, led into the mountain high. Okay, I can't see the rest of it. And I know Ishmael, don't worry about him. Ishmael is fine. God says, I'll take care of him, put him out there in the wilderness. He's going to be a wild man. And that's why we have these Arab Emirates and all them people. That's Ishmael's folks. Don't worry about that. Okay, then Isaac was born. But understand, God told Abraham to walk away from his folks. Monarchy, walk away, get away from his kinfolks, and I'm going to show you something, but he didn't walk away from all of them because he took one with him, and that man was Lot. L-O-T, Lot, which means veil, okay? And God allowed Abraham to bring Lot with him. And there they went on their little journey until it got too much for them. And Abraham finally says, Lot, listen, this town ain't big enough for the both of us. And so I'm going to go over here south, maybe, and you go and you pitch your tent over there near Edom, okay, and Sodom. Y'all know that story, okay? And that's what happened. Now, watch this crazy, dysfunctional family of Jesus, because Adam had children, Isaac, and then Isaac had Jacob, and then Jacob had all these 12 children, Reuben and Simeon, and then Levi, all right? And then, of course, there's Judah comes after that, and then Gad and Issachar and the little boys, Benjamin and Joan and all these guys, okay? All right, so let's go to Judah, all right? Y'all say Jesus comes from the tribe of Judah. He is the lion of the tribe of Judah. Yeah, that's true. Okay, but Judah was a freak. Judah was a freak. Judah was one of the biggest freaks in Jesus' lineage. Some of y'all got Judah in your family, nasty buzzard. If there's some family members who doing what Judah did, and God just, I don't know why. No, I do know why. God saved Judah. He did. Judah had a couple children. Okay, see if I can find it. Chapter 38 of Genesis. Maybe is it right? Judah had 3 children actually. God killed 2 of them. One was wicked, I think it was, and God said, I don't like him, and said, kill him. God killed him. And then the other boy, Onan, Judah said, listen, boy, go and lay with your brother's wife, your dead brother's wife, and get me some children. And then he said, okay, all right, Pops. And he said, come here, girl. And they had sex, all right. He just wanted to insert himself, and he did it, but he pulled out. And he spilled the seed on the ground, and God said, what's wrong with you, fool? And then God said, kill him. And he gone, okay? And y'all got this thing about pulling out thing. That's a whole nother show. It's called onanization, and it's a farce. It's a heresy. Stop teaching that stupid stuff. All right, anyway. So God killed them, and then Judah said, oh, listen, Linda, listen. He said, okay, my baby child is too young. When he get of age, I'm gonna let him do what he do with you. Meanwhile, just be patient. Nobody was patient. Judah, no, his daughter-in-law was patient. Y'all know what that boy, she played the harlot, and Judah decided to go out there and chase the harlot, and he slept with that nasty boy, Judah. Oh, man, I'm trying to tell y'all, Judah was a hoe. He was nasty, okay? But this is Jesus' family, y'all. I don't think y'all understand this, okay? So, Judah, and then there's Tamar was her name. Just a crazy story. And then came Salmon and Rahab. Ooh, y'all know about Rahab, right? Y'all remember Rahab? Oh. Canaanite prostitute. She became a hero of the faith. And she protected Joshua's spies. Rahab. That purple. She put that rope down there and said, hey, here I is. Oh, man. But let me tell y'all something. This crazy mixed up family of Jesus. Remember I told y'all about Lot? Well, if you look at the genealogy, here's Abraham on the left side, all right? And he began at Isaac, and then Jacob, and then Judah, and Tamar, then Salmon of Rahab, okay, on this left side. But then Boaz is born on Abraham's side, okay? Boaz. Well, who Boaz? Who can he get with to bring Jesus on? Who is this person that he gonna find? Well, the funny thing about Boaz, remember I mentioned Lot up there? Abraham left his kindred and brought Lot with him. God made sure, even though he told him to leave his kindred, God allowed Lot to go with him long enough so that Lot will understand something. Oh, I'm going here. Then before you know it, Lot disappears. We don't hear about Lot after that whole Sodom and Gomorrah situation, but Lot began to have these Moabs. Ooh, yeah. And then that lineage of Lot is on this side. Before you know it, the lineage of Lot gives birth to a woman by the name of Ruth. Ooh, yes, sir. So all these people on the left side of Abraham, and then here goes Ruth, hooks up with her kin folks. Boaz, come on. You heard what she said to him when she met him in the nighttime when he was asleep, and she put the perfume on it and laid up under his skirt. Y'all remember that? There it is. That's how they got together. Ruth. That's Lot is her great-great-great-grandpappy, and Boaz, great-great-great-grandpappy, is Abraham. Ooh, that kind of nasty, ain't it? But it worked out, didn't it? Oh, man. And then from the both of them came King David. David was a whole tool. Hold to the whole osity. He had folks killed. He split. A lot of blood was shed because of David. That's why he couldn't build the temple. I'm going somewhere. Y'all like, when did this Meghan Markle stuff come in? Y'all don't know by now where I'm going? Y'all are kind of ignorant. I can't understand how you cannot comprehend why I'm taking y'all this far in the story of Jesus and the family and the monarchy, okay, of the kings of Israel. I can't understand how y'all can't see this. All right, anyway. Beverly said coughing over here, okay? David, there he was. Y'all see what he did? Remember that Bathsheba woman? She didn't belong to him. No, sure didn't. And then Solomon came out of that. And y'all, Solomon had 700, wives and 300 concubines. Solomon was another one. He loved him some ladies. Yeah, he does. Oh, but God still blessed him. Okay? And then the book of Matthew opened up with this genealogy, left it in the genealogy for you to understand that family jacked up. Jehoiakim pops up in the genealogy, and it makes no sense because God says there won't be no king descendant sitting on the throne after that name. I'm sorry, you ain't gonna have no nothing. Okay, it makes no sense. So the genealogy of Mary had to be instituted. Oh man, this is too long. I can't do this. Jerubbaal and then Joseph, and then in came Mary. Joseph and Mary. Guess what? There's some kindred there somewhere. Oh, it's part of the lineage, y'all. I don't think y'all get it. All right, monarchy. I went all the way around the corner because I'm trying to show y'all something here about this royal wedding. Ain't nothing new. Nothing new about this. Prince Harry. Now, the ruler is often the head of state, monarchy. The ruler is the head of state and not the head of the government. That's why you notice when you look on the news and you see the happenings of Great Britain and what they do over there, and when they talk about the queen and the kings and all these people, they talk about them in a certain kind of way, but they really have no power over that which is government. Yes. You look at Britain and you look at Denmark, they're actually governed by what's called the parliament. Our Constitution insists that we have a Congress, okay? We have checks and balances with the executive and the legislative and the judicial branch. Well, that's our setup. Theirs is Parliament, okay? So, but if you look at the family of William and Harry, you have to also understand the hierarchy and its names and how they are in power. All right, Diana, Princess Diana, she's the Princess of Wales. Okay, and she was a member of the British royal family. We know about that. And the wife Charles is messed up. Okay, Charles is messed up, and Charles' family messed up. Okay, I think Diana got a little black in her. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, but I remember the days of Diana. Diana got some black in her. Somebody was dipping in the cookie jar. Okay, anyway, Charles, and then Charles is the Prince of Wales, okay, and the heir, of course, he is the heir, and Diana was the heir of the British throne. Understand that? That's the way it should have been. Diana, of course, was the mother of Prince William. Now, understand, Prince William, the Duke of Cambridge, all right, and Prince Harry is the Duke of Sussex. There is a difference. Understand the hierarchy there, okay? Now, here is the common European titles of the monarchy, all right? It is, they have, sometimes they call them emperors or empress. Then there's king, queen, grand duke, grand duchess, and then prince, then princess, then duke, then duchess. You got it? Now, that's the hierarchy order of what they may call nobility, all right? Now, in God's kingdom, it's about the king, all right? Kings reign on the throne in the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, the kingdom of Judah and the kingdom of Israel. Kings, kings, kings. And then you see, you may hear about Queen Esther, which is a great, wonderful story that y'all see. The Queen Esther story is so closely related, yet she was a queen. This is a princess or duchess in a sense, okay? Is it making any sense to any of y'all yet? Let me see what you're saying here. Come on. Harry has black ancestry himself through Queen Charlotte. Okay, I'm going there. I'm about to go there. Shantae Charles is here. That's my dear friend and fact checker. Ooh, that's Shantae Charles. Okay, now. Oh boy, let me tell you about the family, the dysfunctional family of who just got married here. Prince Harry's great grandmother. That royal family actually was at the brother's wedding, William's wedding. The royal family of their great grandmother was at the brother's wedding. Queen Victoria is her name. Queen Victoria, she was serving on the throne for about 63 years. Her family was at his brother's wedding. Who was the family? The Queen of Spain, the Prince of Spain, the Princess of Sweden, the former King of Greece, the former King of Romania. All of them showed up at the wedding, and they are in the family. All right? Queen Victoria. Her husband's name was Prince Albert. Okay? Now, who is she and why is she so significant? She's so significant by the standards of most monarchies, okay, and dictatorships. Look at North Korea. All right, look at this man and look at his father and look at his grandfather. And if this man have a son, I don't know if he may have several of them. I don't know. Okay, it's supposed to continue. It's supposed to continue, and just like dynasties in Asia, okay, that's just the way it is. Some of y'all got dynasties and monarchies and dictatorships and princes, potentates. Some of y'all got that in your families of your churches. The pastor started that church in 1900, and then his son, and then his grandson, and then his great-grandson, and that's the way a lot of these churches are set up, and as a monarchy. All right, I'm trying to help y'all out here. So she strategically, okay, she would place her family. This is Queen Victoria. All right, she would strategically place her family in planned marriages around the world. That's what she did. She placed them around the world, and it was really about building a political allegiance or political alliance, okay, with the European nations. Why? Because the European continent got hit with the Napoleon War and the French Revolutionary War. And so the Europeans had to come together and rebuild. And so they needed to set up a new balance of power. And so Great Britain became the strongest state among the Europeans. And so people began to follow after that. So Victoria had 9 children. And their oldest child was named Vicky. And Vicky, I think she married this Prussian, into the Prussian throne. Prussia, or that's over there, it's a German state. It's the largest, most powerful of the German states, okay? So she married into the Prussian throne. But there was a big problem with that, though. Okay, because the problem, though, was when their son, the younger son, Alfred, married the daughter of a Russian czar, okay, a czar he was called, and then the Russian monarchy was not set up like the monarchy of Great Britain, because they were set up more as an autocracy. There's a difference between the monarchy and the autocracy, because the autocracy is more so one guy, and this one guy have absolute power. All right, but the Great Britain set up their monarchy under the constitutional monarchy, which gives a balance of power, if that makes any sense. Okay, but this Queen Victoria had 42 children, grandchildren. That is, she had 42 grandchildren out of those 9 babies. 42 of them suckers, and 7 of them sat on the royal throne. 7 of them. All right. So after Queen Victoria's death, World War I broke out. What was that? 1911, 1914, somewhere around there. It broke out. And then what happens is, after it broke out, you began to see her own children now fighting against each other. Because if they are princes and potentates of different nations, all right, these nations are now fighting, and she wound up losing her children to coups and takeovers and murders and things like that. And after World War I hit, okay, 10 million people lost their lives in World War I. So then the monarchy system ceased in Europe. That's why you only see it in maybe Denmark and Great Britain. It ceased. But Great Britain's system survived. But the system in Great Britain survived, but had to be changed. Oh, boy. And here's why we have the type of marriages we see today among that family, because the monarchy changed. the royal family became more people friendly. They didn't just hide in their castles and sit on the thrones and look at the peasants from over their balcony. They didn't do that anymore. They began to walk the streets. They began to talk to the people, okay? They left the palaces. They began to talk to the commoners, all right? And the more they allowed their children to be more friendly with the commoners, and then the children began, of course, to fall in love with the commoners. Oh, man. Thank you, Marcel, 1914. Before their Roman thrones was black European, the Moors. Yeah. Actual Meghan Markle isn't the first. Yes, that's right. Meghan Markle wed Prince Harry May 19th in front of her mother, Doria. Her new royal family members in 600 deaths, so not slave-related. Regina, no, her actually black. Huh? What are you talking about? I have to read that a little slower, Regina, because I'm not sure what you're talking about. Okay, all right. Yes. Of course, she's not the first black on the throne. Many of you know how to do your own research. Queen Charlotte, actually, they suspect Queen Charlotte, the wife of King George III. He was born the king, and 15 children actually he was the African descent. There was a historian, he argues that Queen Charlotte was directly descended from the black brands of the Portuguese, the royal family. The Portuguese royal family, and Alfonso III and his concubine was a black Moor. I think that's what Regina kind of saying here. In the 13th century, Alfonso III of Portugal conquered a little town named Faro from the Moors. And a researcher of 1996, a frontline special of PBS called Secret Daughter. And he demanded the governor daughters as a paramour, and he had 3 children with her. Now, according to this person, one of the sons, Valdez is one of the sons, Martin Alfonso married into a noble De Sousa family who also had black ancestry, and Queen Charlotte had African blood from both families. So Valdez, who grew up in Belize, he began to research Queen Charlotte's African ancestry in 1967, and after he moved to Boston, okay? The quotes are here. Says, I had heard these stories from my Jamaican nanny, Ethelaldi, T.T. Cole. He talks about T.T. Cole, and he discovered that a royal physician, Baron Christian Friedrich Stockmar, described Queen Charlotte as a small and crooked with a true mulatto face. Sir Walter Scott, some people call me Sir Walter Wiley sometimes. Sir Walter Scott wrote that she looked ill-colored and called her family a bunch of ill-colored orangutans. Yeah, that's what he said. Sir Walter Scott said that. One prime minister once wrote of Queen Charlotte, her nose is too wide and her lips are too thick. In several British colonies, Queen Charlotte was often honored by blacks who were convinced from her portraits and likeness on coins that she had African ancestry. And Valdez became fascinated by official portraits of Queen Charlotte in which her features, he said, was visibly Negroid. She's black. Okay? There was a significance here with this story, this love story of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Okay? The thing that we have to see is the tie-in on both the spiritual and the natural. All right? I believe in my heart of hearts that everything that is happening in America and then around the world, God is allowing it, setting it up, and he's turning the wheel himself. He's allowing some things to happen. He also had his hands in that whole family finagle with Abraham. God's hand was in it, trust me, because he also he allowed things to happen. When you look in the book of Revelation, you'll see that there's some things that God himself is doing instigating himself. He's causing these things to happen. He has every right. He's sovereign. And he also gave you the right to choose. He told you, if you do this, I'll do this. If you do this, though, I'll do this. But because we're doing this, God is doing this. I believe, again, in my heart of hearts, that Donald Trump is in that office for a reason. We fight against his presidency, yes. I'm one of the main ones who tell y'all how mentally ill this man is. He's a bigot, yes. He's a racist, yes. He's a xenophobe, yes. He's narcissistic, yes. He's psychotic, yes. He's all of those things. He's always been that way. And there's nothing different that a man will do because he takes on a new name. A husband who cheats, or a man who cheats all his life, then gets married, don't stop cheating because he got married. Now he got the name husband. That don't make him stop cheating because he got a name. It don't make a president stop, cause a man who gets the name president, that doesn't make him stop being a hoe. Doesn't make him stop being a liar or a cheat. All right, he is the most lying I've ever heard in my entire life came from the Oval Office, and then the people that he put in office lie for him. I don't know who lies more, he and it's blatant lying, and so it makes me wonder what's going on. God allowed it. He's showing us something through this man and this administration. God is showing us something because he's preparing us for what's getting ready to happen next. But the world is tied together. This whole make America great again and America first and America only and all this stuff is the talk of nationalism, and it can never work because we are tied in through not only social but through our finance, and finance is power. And because we're part of the financial world, when you trade your stocks and bonds and things on the market, you're trading with the world. You're not just trading with each other. So you cannot say America first and then look at the stock market and say America only. We would crash and burn. We couldn't survive without China. We can't survive without Japan. We can't survive. Without India, we can't survive. We definitely couldn't survive if it wasn't for Africa. America, I don't know what it would look like. So we are a global force, and we must remain a global force, which both strengthens and weakens us. And so for a great nation like Great Britain to bring someone in from our country over to their country through a marriage actually ties us now by the hip, because what God can do now that we're part of the royal family of Great Britain, can do something. You see, that's our brothers and sisters over there, and we left there because of the kingship that Catholicism set up, and we were running from there because of the Queen. We weren't running, the white folks was, them colonizers. They said, we got to get up out of here. And they got on their boats and went over there and set up the 13 colonies, okay? Y'all know the story, and it is stated in the preamble. It's stated in the Constitution, the opening of it, why we here today, all right? Left our brothers over there, couldn't get along. We might be Isaac, and they might be Jacob. We might be Ishmael, and they might be Isaac, Isaac and Ishmael, and Jacob and Esau. Let's put it that way. They might be Esau, we might be Jacob, okay? But then we came back together. And I believe that the new Roman Empire will be United States and coupled with Great Britain. There'll be others that are part of us. France will be there. Italy will be there. Of course, our neighbors to the north, Canada will be a part of that new Roman Empire, but they'll all be meshed in there. Okay, if that makes any sense. Beverly says she's expecting. Well, we're expecting too. And of course, we have been kings and queens, descendants through Africa. Come on, I know. I know. Blessings to you, Joseph. Okay, so I believe there is going to be a tie-in because of this marriage. This marriage could cause a tie-in. Let me tell y'all something. In God's kingdom, it's really about the king, not really about the queen. It's always been about the king. Funny thing. Losing identity because they got the the colonizers went over there to Africa and decided to say, listen, you want a new trip to America, all expenses paid. You get to come over here and do free labor. Free, everything's free. Come over here. All right, and we came over here. All right, well, that's a different story. Kings, queens, but what the colonizers did when they brought us over here is they took away something here. All right, they removed something here. They tried to. They couldn't really succeed fully, but on many cases they did. They tried to remove something here. The memory of things, our culture, remove that. Put their culture in us. Didn't really work that well. That's one reason why Moses, although he was removed from his family at birth, God introduced this boy, Moses, from the riverbed to Pharaoh's daughter. Just amazing. And Pharaoh's daughter grabbed this boy and says, and noticed that there was a Hebrew cloth. Yeah, She knew who that baby was. And then what did she do? God put in her spirit to take that boy and give him back to his Hebrew mother to wean him. Sure did. And I think she weaned him for about 5 years. And then the Pharaoh's daughter paid Moses' mama to raise these boys. I mean, that is the greatest public aid system I've ever seen in my life. God's public aid system is the first system. The papacy sanctioned slavery approval of all who were not converts. Come on, the papacy, don't let me talk about the Catholic Church. All right? So, what you say, Vatican is the Holy Roman Empire, never die. Yeah, Yep. Watch out. Watch out. Okay? So, Moses' mama is getting paid to raise her own child. Woo-wee. And then after 5 years, she turned him back over to Pharaoh's daughter. And then he lived in Pharaoh's daughter all those years and understood all of the mysteries of the Egyptians. That's what the Bible says. He knew it. Now, I know y'all say that he spoke and he didn't know how to speak because as he was talking to God, he was stuttering. Y'all say he was stuttering. But the scripture is kind of suspicious when it comes to the knowledge and wisdom and the way Moses talked. I don't know if y'all might be interpreting that. That's a shaky one right there, y'all. Okay? But the funny thing about that, when Moses saw that somebody was roughing up one of his people, Moses went and killed that Egyptian soldier and buried him in the sand. Yeah, that's what I heard. Somebody saw him do that and he had to leave town. How is it that a man could be raised up in Pharaoh's house all those years, okay, but yet see one of his people and take revenge because God put it in him? The Catholic says, if you give me your child for 5 years, he will be Catholic for the rest of his life. Moses was a Hebrew, for 5 years in the house. God knew, put him back home, let him stay up in that family for 5 years. And in that 5 years, all of the nurturing and all of the developmental stages will happen in those 5 years as a Hebrew. And when he goes back over there to the enemy, I don't care how long he live over there, he going to always be Hebrew. Oh, boy. Yep, he was raised to know his true identity. Man, it was a perfect setup. God set him up perfectly. So they went over there to Africa to get y'all. They made a mistake, though. They made a big mistake. They went over there and got grown folks. There was too many of them. And they tried to remove from grown folks all this stuff. And many of those, I believe, slaves, they played the dumb role. I believe many played the dumb role, but they knew. They knew their identity. I believe it in my heart of hearts. God, he kept that in them. Okay? a whole other can of worms. Yeah, Beverly, that Vatican, that's a whole nother thing right there. I'll have to do a show on that, because I think some of us are, oh man, when we go to Revelation, we look at some of the things that seem to lead towards the Vatican, and I believe a lot of it does. How many? There's 1 billion Catholics on the earth today, and the number grow, although many of them are falling off, but that number actually grows in one area and maybe falling off in some other areas, but they are still the most powerful religion today. And God is going to use the Pope. He's always used the Pope. He is using the Pope and the next Pope after this to usher in fully something. Actually, they captured children and teens after that. It was easier to erase culture. Yeah, they might have captured children and teens after that, but they got a whole lot of adults who knew better. Oh, they knew better. And they might have captured those kids, brought them in and had them around them adults. I'm sorry. God had them. He had them. He had them in a place where he needed them to be. All right? So my initial point was, in America, it's about the bride. Notice that. The bride does everything. It's all, and when y'all go to the wedding, here comes not the groom, the bride. It's all about bridesmaids. The groomsmen, they all right, but everybody want to look at them bridesmaids. The wedding is expensive, not because of him, because of her. Her ring is the most expensive. There it is. It's just, that whole day is her. It's about her. Yeah. Who did that? Who caused this system like this to happen? Who changed the foundation of how it was important that it was about the groom, not the bride? America. Westernized this? Who did it? Because when it comes time for judgment, when you get your crowns, and when you sit at the Lamb's Supper, okay, notice who the attention is going to be on. Yeah, it ain't going to be about the bride. Y'all, it ain't about the bride. It's about the groomsmen. Notice the depiction in Scripture. Notice when Jesus talks. Notice they talk about marriages and weddings. Notice it's always focused on the groom. Wonder why? So what we're looking for, unfortunately, in Christianity in America is because we've turned Christianity into a bridal shop. That's why Christianity has turned into a lukewarmness, or it turned into a disdain and a nasty taste in a lot of men's mouths, because many of the women turn church and Christianity and holiness into more of a woman's parlor. And a lot of men don't like it. So what they did was they started to change the aesthetics in churches and changing the worship experience, because men don't like a lot of that cute mamby-pamby type pink. I mean, I've gone to some churches and there was a woman pastor there, and everything in that house was pink. That church. Oh, just I'm trying to tell y'all, I've gone to the bathrooms of many of y'all's churches, and I knew it was a woman pastor. I knew it. I'm not against women pastors. Y'all know I teach against those who are against. That ain't my story. I get in trouble for it, but I don't care. Those women are doing the work. They're doing more work than a lot of these men are. Y'all leave these women alone. Let them preach. But when I know it's a women's church, because I've gone to some of the bathrooms and there's a couch. In the men's restroom, there's a couch and a chair and all kind of cute little things. And there's curtains. And I said, I can't worship here. I've gone to churches where they've turned the pulpit into a harem a parlor where it looks like y'all seen pictures of. There's two thrones there, and it's draped in purple and arrayed with all kind of. I can't describe it. When men walk in those churches, they walk right out. They can't take it. That's what church have been turned into, and that's why you don't see a whole lot of men there anymore. They don't like that. Yeah. I rarely see a church pastored by women where there are more than 10 men. Brentic, that's right. Men don't like it because when you have the domination of women in churches, men don't want to be a part of that because it makes them uncomfortable. They feel, first of all, they feel less empowered. All right, they feel like they're not in control of a situation. They feel less than a man. They feel like she's in control. All these things, he doesn't feel like a man. So if you only see a few men at those churches, check them out. Check those brothers out. I'm not saying they feminine. I'm just saying check them out. All right. Now I've been to women's churches when women are pastors where they do allow the men or insist that the men play more of a dominant role. Now, those churches I find very comfortable. Who weren't the pastor's family? Yeah, right. Where the men play a more dominant role. They allow the elders to have their way to show their gifts. Now, those are the churches that have women pastors. I appreciate that. And sometimes these women have husbands who play. The husbands are not pastors, but the husband play a dominant role in the ministry, and so I can deal with that. But I said it, y'all, most of the churches where there's a woman in charge, you check out the men, and I'm going to show you something. I got a drink on that one. Okay, the significance of this wedding here could be one of two answers. Number one, there is no significance whatsoever. None. It was just a white man intrigued with a black woman, and they came together and showed the world that interracial couples can get along. Or this other one, which I'm leaning towards more so, the significance is what we already saw, is the presence of African American on the world structure, the presence of African American culture as well on the world structure. We saw that with Barack Obama's election. We did, but it was a little different. Just a little different. Black people, you've been complaining that you're not at the table. And they sit your little self at the table, now you're complaining that you at the table. Oh, Lord have mercy. Shantae, help me with this one, because this is coming from your bowels. We say we not at the table. We ain't represented at the table. And then we get an invite to be at the table, and then y'all complain we at the table. I just don't get it. You know, Donald Trump, as he won the presidency of the United States, set up his cabinet. He didn't look for a whole bunch of black folk. No, he didn't do that. What he did do, though, he began to reach out to black representatives. And it upsetted a whole lot of y'all because y'all started seeing black people show up at the Trump Tower for picture day. Steve Harvey's one of them. Don King was another. And Joe, whatever his name was, the ball player from the 70s, okay? You start seeing all these black folks. But the problem with that was he was only selecting black entertainers. You didn't see nobody show up from the Black Caucus, Congressional Caucus. You didn't see nobody showing up from the Urban League. You didn't see anybody show up from maybe even Operation Push. Was Jesse? Did he show up? Maybe he did. I don't remember. Okay. You didn't see nobody show up that he invited, that is, from Black Lives Matter. All right. All these people, I didn't see any presidencies from any HBCUs. None of them were represented there. That's the strange thing about that. None of them was represented at the Trump Tower when he was trying to find out what can we do for black people. They wasn't. You see, y'all can't use that as an example because these entertainers, all right, that's because he was choosing entertainers, not intellectual or policymakers. You see, that's the problem. If he had brought in policymakers, that would have been a problem for his constituents as well as he, but especially his constituents. That would have been a problem. So who did he get? He brought in, what's the reality TV show? He brought her in. And then I almost said monkey. I almost said monkey. Then I said monkey. I almost said monkey. You see how that worked for me? I got to stop that. This preacher, he brought in a bunch of monkey preachers. Ooh, I got to stop calling people out of their name. I ain't said no name. I just said monkey preachers. I said it again. Okay, he brought in these preachers. Okay, and those preachers began to lie for him. These are your pastors. They begin to lie for him because you take on the spirit of your boss. You take on the spirit of your leader. You take on the spirit of your father. You take on the spirit of the man or the woman who you admire and hail as the great. You begin to take on their spirit, their characteristic. Okay, you begin to twerk and turn and laugh like them and sit like them and walk like them. You begin to take on their spirit. So, of course, if you're going to be up under a lying spirit of an administration, you begin to lie. So everybody up under this man who served in his cabinets, they all must lie. They lie. They have to because they take on the spirit of lie because that's who he is. So whoever he would have brought in as a black representation, that person would have started to take on the spirit, the lie spirit. I don't think y'all are seeing any of this. I blame the prosperity gospel for the pastoral support. Yes, Brentic, that's exactly what it was. The prosperity gospel became popular for many years, and because that theology became so popular, then those pastors looked at a Donald Trump as a perfect representation of how they can continue to live their life and teach this damaging theology to their people. Donald Trump was the answer to that. So many black pastors in Chicago voted for him. For that alone, understand that. They voted for him exclusively for only that. It was for coffers reason. Greed. And it backfired on all of them. Not on some of them. It backfired on every last one of those men who voted for him. Notice that many of them are in hiding today. You don't hear nothing from any of those pastors. Not a one. Funny thing though, right? They gone. You don't hear nothing. You don't see no YouTube videos, no Facebook Lives, no campaign. The news don't even show. They're all in hiding. Hiding. So there is a significance here. I keep going back to it. I believe that this marriage tied us in. It did. To say that Meghan Markle does not uphold her blackness is a person who watched that wedding and just didn't see it. There's a whole bunch of blackness showed up at that wedding. From the preacher from Chicago to the choir singing, to I'm sure that the reception was, they might have done the Soul Train dance. I don't know. All right? So understand that. Now, I don't know the future. I don't know in time what's going to happen tomorrow other than what I know that's in the books of the major and minor prophets in the book of Revelation, the prophetic books. That's all I know about prophecy, and then maybe some of the visions that I believe the Lord gave me. I believe we are going to be a major player, and in time America is, but we will have to join forces with another nation in order to play that major part, because we do not see America in the Bible's prophecy. It's nowhere in Scripture. Y'all keep trying to look for it, but you can't find it, so you start trying to find words and phrases to say that must be America. That ain't America. God's attention is on the state of Israel. Israel is his number one attention, and whenever the Scripture talk about, and they went up, or they came down, that means they started in Jerusalem, because it's on a hill. It's a city on a hill. Whenever they said, and they went down from Jerusalem to this territory, because, or it says, and they went up to Jerusalem. Notice Scriptures say they went down from, up to. Hold right there. I got to sign these folk off. Hey, y'all, listen, if you enjoyed this show, I appreciate it. I was going to give you a phone number, but I ain't got one. So you just keep listening to the D. Curtis Randall Show, because he every day around this time he upsets your grandma. She know by now what to do. She in hiding right now. D. Curtis Randall, right now. This is the Sir Walter Jones Show. Yeah, the cellist. Yeah, thank you, Beatrice. The cellist. We will be absorbed. Okay. What was I talking about before I had to sign these folk off? They're gone now. I think, yes, thank you, Charles. I believe we will be absorbed, all right? I've said this before. I've said it 1,000 times, and I'll say it 1,001 times. We are losing our power. Our dollar is not worth what it was worth when we were coming up, of course. It's not worth it anymore. Fiat, every nation who operated on fiat, that system failed. They reversed the whole gold standard. Richard Nixon did in 1971. He had to do it. Remove the gold standard. You used to be able to go to a bank, take your dollar and get gold. Can't do that no more. The other nations began to come over here because we housed most of the gold in the world was housed here in America. Right there at the penitentiary. Fort Knox. The nations saw our economy and did a run on the banks. They came over here and started gathering and grabbing their gold and building their own little places to put their gold in. Richard Nixon says we can't continue to allow this to continue because we're going to be bankrupt before you know it, and he removed the standard. History nerd, I'm sorry. What happened? The value of the dollar began to dip. Your coins, your dime, and your nickels was actually plated with a percentage of gold and silver. The dimes and nickels that y'all have in your pocket and quarters. When you hear dime plate, that dime was a real dime. Today's dime is worth nothing. But the old dimes had some actually real silver in it. If you notice the old movies of the 1920s, you'll see a person will receive a coin and he'd bite in it. He says, oh, okay, thank you. He'd bite in it. Thank you. That's the way it was. They would take something and cut the coin in half, and they give you half and they give you half because it was about weight. All right, that's a whole nother story. Okay, sorry, I'm a nerd. A lot of that left will begin to be depleted in power. Okay? And our reliance on oil depleted us. Our reliance, we rely on goods and services that's being exported in. That does this for us as well. If you turn over anything in your house right now, it says made in China. weakens us more. So we're not a superpower anymore. So it weakens us. And this is one reason why there's more money put aside in America for military than any other department in governmental program that we have is military. Why? Because of fear. America is fearful. America don't care about the poor. No, we are Sodom and Gomorrah. America is. So we don't really care about the poor. Absolutely not. We care about protecting our borders. That's why so many billions of dollars go to defense, more so than feeding the hungry, because we are afraid. America at large. And we're very belligerent, and that's why and then what weakens us even more is our military is spread thin around the world. We are the police of the world. As soon as there's a fire, hey, we'll take care of it, because we have allegiance and alliances with other nations. So we have to, because of the agreements that we made with the UN, we have to. So what happens? Our military is spread thin, and it weakens us even more. So what does that do for us as a nation in end-time prophecy? We are in a peculiar place in America geographically because we're surrounded by water. We messed up. Blessings to you, Shante, because it's so easy for our nation, these nations from the Pacific to the Atlantic, to come over and have their way. That's why every time North Korea shoots a test rocket in the sky, it hits the news. We get scared. It keeps going further and further and further. Why? Because they're able now to reach us. So it seems like we have a love affair with everybody, but the world hates America. And it's not because of the grace of God. If it wasn't for God holding us up and protecting our borders, we'd be wiped out today. Because 911 was just a precursor to what's getting ready to happen. That's what I believe. So God is a God of peace, and God will keep peace at bay, keep it there for a little while until He does something else. Us marrying into this royal family could be a way in. They're binding together, and this woman now have the voice and the heartbeat of Prince Harry, who's got a heartbeat to the Queen, who has a heartbeat to the King. I don't think y'all understanding that. So you start seeing Harry and Meghan Markle show up at places where his brother and wife usually would not have been found. I think y'all better hear me here. From the wedding on, y'all going to start seeing them show up at places, I believe, where his mother Diana was getting ready to take Brother Charles in. But that whole tunnel thing happened and didn't happen. Diana was getting ready to change the world. So it's always the baby child. Notice that. It's always the baby child that does something unorthodox. And what did Harry do? He married something unorthodox, which helps as well as disrupts that which is orthodox. Because if you listen to the news, you hear what they say about the wedding. They said, as that black preacher was talking about, two people fell in love and all of us showed up. And the news was like, they didn't know what to make of it because he was fiery. He was like, this is something that the monarchy is not used to. This, how you say, charismatic way of speaking. That's what the news was saying. I was cracking up. It was code word for Negro. This is a Negro wedding. Yeah. Just like Tupac was getting ready to do something good. Yeah, Beverly. Yeah, I believe it. Absolutely. There are men and women who was getting ready to do an amazing work. I look at Bobby Kennedy. Bobby, who announced that Martin Luther King was shot. Bobby Kennedy was getting ready to do amazing work, especially among African Americans. And he got taken out of here. There's a whole bunch of people I believe got taken too soon, but for a reason. God allowed it for a reason. All right? So let's just see. Let's see what's going to happen with this wedding, this thing, and see what God's going to do through it. And then we can go back and look at the show and says, I told you. Watch. They're going to pop up in places that you usually will not see the monarchy. You won't see them, but you're going to see them too. And they're going to cause the queen to start doing stuff unorthodox. Watch. Queen is on the way out. She's about to die. Right? She can't live forever. The queen and the king, they both are about to die. And then a shift is going to happen. God is putting people in place because man can't live forever. And these people are going to die. And these people who we say that they don't belong there. God is going to use them mightily to do a work for him. It's going to disrupt, though, the peace of those people who think that this is the right way. It's going to disrupt them. It's going to make them radical. Look at Meghan. Look at John. What is his name? McCain. Can I say something to y'all as I close this down? J. Edgar killed him, King and his brother. Well, whoever killed them, they're gone. She was born for such a time as this. Essence says, yes, President K was taken because he was about to reveal some stuff. John McCain has terminal, I believe, cancer. He's an old man as well. Have you noticed, even though he's a Republican, notice how he's going and fighting against his Republican leader, President Donald Trump. Notice that. Why is that? Why is he this way now, though? More so after he got sick. Trying to tell y'all something. I believe he's working. I believe he's working. And in things that you might look at as insignificant and small, the Lord is going to use it as a mighty work. Watch. John McCain is speaking up. He know his time is short. He don't care what nobody say. He going against the very system in which he's in. He going against it. And when they relying on his one vote, he did this. I said, wow. We look at that prophecy right there. That old man who's getting ready to die. He said, and then he gonna do it again before he die. Watch. Y'all better mark my words. These people who y'all just look at as being just old and God is using the elderly because those men and women who holding the power in a traditional setting and they're turning on the tradition the way they're doing now, you better watch them. God is turning this thing. And it may not seem like the way you're turning it is good for you, but it's great for you. It's great for you. Because we know the end of the story. We know the end of the book. We got it right here. It said we win. Wow, we win. But how is it that it said we win, but y'all are scared? Y'all still in the middle of the book. Y'all like the old Orthodox Jews who stopped after Malachi and they said, okay, that's all we need. We don't need nothing else. That's how some Christians think. They read from Genesis to Malachi and they're done. They're done. All right? Trust me, we win and we win mightily. So it's your time to go out there and witness to some people, all right? And get them in here and let them know what God is doing. All right. I know this show went from that to a prophetic thing back to, I don't know what it is, but hit the share button, whatever it is, and share it with the folks who may not understand the history of what's going on. And to you who are on YouTube, there's a bell right there. YouTube, bam, hit that bell and subscribe to the Sir Walter Jones Show channel, and we will thank you for it and continue these shows. I did a show last night, yesterday, day before yesterday, about how to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. Go there. It's on my channel right now. It might be under this video. I don't know. It's right up under there. How you do that? Right up under there, it says how to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. Right up under there. Show it with your pastor. Show it to your pastor. And if he ain't preaching it like that, he ain't preaching. All right. Beverly says she shared it in 3 places. Thank you, Beverly. If I had 5 more people like you, the gospel will be spread around the world. Okay, y'all. We'll see you later. You got a hot topic? Hit me up. You know, if anybody gonna talk about it, I will. I'm crazy like that. Meet me June 30. My birthday is July the 1st. But the day before, we're gonna party like it's 1970 through 79. How about that? My 70th birthday party right next door. 4100 South King Drive, Chicago, Illinois. Right there at the Met. Put on your afro and your paisleys and your stack shoes and come meet me and let's have a great time. It's going to be a party. We're going to party hardy and have some great games and I'm going to pass out some gifts. How about that? Come meet me. Love you guys. Thank you, Lena. I appreciate you. Got to go. Do something else with my life. All right. Love you guys. Pray for the family. Especially Meghan and her husband. Pray for them. Although there's many people seem like they agree with it and they celebrate it. There's a whole lot of other folk who are going to continue to attack. There's a lot of bigotry around the world, and they hate when people like that come together. And that's cool. That's good. Yeah, y'all know I say this all the time. Woe to you when all men speak well. I have a white woman in my family, married my brother, and we love the ground she walk on. Yes, we do. I ain't one of them men who are into that anti-meshing of the races, ethnic cleansing and all that stuff. Y'all crazy. I just gave y'all Jesus' genealogy. That crazy, messed up, dysfunctional family gave us a savior and saved. That the harlot that was stringing that thing, that purple there, that woman right there, that Rahab girl, the harlot, was sleep with all these men. She gave birth to the savior of the world. Yeah. Meghan, get us some children, girl. Sir Walter Jones Show.